הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת שלום. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. רבקה. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to you here at KLS and Shabbat Shalom to you who came online tonight. So on behalf of Craig Simmons, the chair of KLS, Rebecca Singermna-Knight, the deputy chair of KLS, the entire council, I would like to welcome you all, whether you are somewhere in the country online or here at KLS or even beyond the borders, to celebrate 120 years of Liberal Judaism in one of its synagogues. So we're pleased tonight to have with us Rabbi Rene Pfertzel and the ganze Mishpacha, who came tonight, CEO of Liberal Judaism, as we know, but also a former rabbi of KLS. And Rabbi Danny Rich has sent his apologies. He cannot come tonight. He's somewhere in the West Country. Okay. I didn't figure. Danny, if you're watching us, I didn't make a joke. So KLS is a musical community. You shall hear tonight our choir, led by Rebekka Wedell, our music director. We have prepared for you an inspiring program of music and prayers. And you shall also hear a composition made by our deputy chair at the end, because we have also composers within KLS. So without further ado, let us start our service by lighting the Shabbat candles on page 75. Please stand, and I'm going to ask Josh. Josh, who had his bar mitzvah a month ago, and sadly I couldn't come because I had to. So please come here. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't make it easy for you, sorry. Maybe turn the box. No. You use the other one. It's okay. Yeah, use the other side to that. Yes. Yes.
Hold it down.
Now you blow the other direction. We say together, Baruch
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
And let's do a Shecheyanu as well. Baruch
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Please be seated. Thank you. So Rebecca, please.
We continue on page 76. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachi HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachi HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bofuni leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachi HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzechem leshalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachi HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
On page 77, we read responsively, The Eternal One reigns, let the earth rejoice, let the men
Liars be glad.
clouds and darkness surround you, righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne. Your lightnings illumine the world,
Earth sees and trembles.
mountains melt like wax before you, O God. The heavens proclaim your righteousness, and all the peoples behold your glory. Zion hears and is glad. The daughters of Judah rejoice in your judgments. For you are supreme over all the earth.
You are exalted far above all other gods.
Light dawns for the righteous.
And joy for the upright in heart.
Let the righteous rejoice in you and give
Thanks to your holy name. And we continue with Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Avarachman, Meshoch Avdecha, El Ratzonecha, Yahutz Avdecha, Kamo Mayan, Ishtachaveh El Mul Adoracha, Yehavlo Yedidotecha, Menofet Suf V'chol Tam. Yala lai 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 lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai 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 lai, yala lai 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 lai. And we continue on page 86. And let's read at the bottom just the one verse of Doro Yikra, all together. Proclaim freedom for daughter and son, and keep us, God, as the apple of your eye. Beautiful make our name, and never to cease as we come to rest on the Sabbath day. Doro Yikra, Levenim bat, V'yim sochem kamo shavavat, Naim shimchem v'lo yushabat. Shavu v'nuchu b'yom Shabbat. Shavu v'nuchu b'yom Shabbat. Yalai, 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 yalai. Thank you, Vince. Thanks very much.
Thank you. We turn now to page 91 to welcome Shabbat HaMelkah, the Queen of Shabbat, with this wonderful poem which dates from the 16th century, from Sfat, northern Israel, and has many, many Kabbalistic insights in that. So whilst you're singing it, think about the meaning of the words as well, because they will transport you in another dimension.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Shamo v'dibor echad, Ishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, Ushamo echad, L'Shem u'tifaret v'litchila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki makor havracha, merosh mikedem nasucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha, lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וסולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Please stand. We're on page 92. Please be seated. And we say together on page 93, we praise you, Eternal One, our God, sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and seasons, and whose will sets the stars in their courses in the sky. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness, and darkness from light. You make day pass and bring on the night, and separate day from night. You rule the hosts of heaven. We praise you, God, whose word makes evening fall. And let's continue. Are you singing? Yeah, please.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסור ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
He stands for the Shema.
מלכותו לעולם ועד.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך.
ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך,
והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Please be seated. All this we hold to be true and sure, you alone, eternal one, are our God, and we are Israeli people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly we accepted your rule. Then, full of joy, we sang together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. Guard our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. We praise you, O God. May you shelter and peace descend on us and all who are on earth. Page 97, please stand for the Amidah.
Ya la 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 Adonai. Ya la 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 Sefer Tifta. Ya la 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 Ufi Yagi. Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Ya la 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 Adonai. Ya la 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 Sefer Tifta. Ya la 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 Ufi Yagi. Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Eloheinu v'imotzeinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ירחם. מלך עושה ומשאיר מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך אברהם, עזרת שרה. אתה גיבור עולם אדוני, מחיה משימתה להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מצביח השמש ומוריד הזהב. מחנה חיים בחסד, בחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צורף נופלים ורופא חולים, ומציל אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשמי עפר. מי כמוך על גבורות, ומי דומה אליו, מלך ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים.
קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוה מבלעדיך. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please be seated. And let's read together. We thank you, O God, for this Sabbath day, which calls us to closer communion with you. For you are near to us at all times, you reveal your presence most clearly when we direct our thoughts towards you in worship and meditation. In you, O God, our humanity is exalted. You are our life. From you come its greatness, its power, its beauty. Establish in us, we humbly pray, a devotion to you that shall be firm in all the circumstances of life. May this service renew in our hearts the sense of your presence and bring us peace. on page 100. Let's read together. Our God and God of ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments, and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, eternal one, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath.
Rotsei Adonai Eloheinu be'amacha Yisrael u'tefilatam ba'ahava tekabel Tamid avodat Yisrael. Amecha Yisrael Amecha Baruch
So for those who came yesterday to the Musar session online with Finchley Progressive Synagogue, we talked about Hakarat HaTov, we talked about gratitude. And gratitude is exactly the blessing that comes now. Modim anachnu lach. Modim means we are grateful. And you know that our names, the names of our peoples, actually comes also from the idea of gratitude. Yehuda. Yehuda it's the only child when his mother, I can't never remember, Rachel, I think it's Rachel, gosh. I always have issue with family, so don't worry, it's not about the vehicle family, it's my own as well. So when his mother, Rachel...
Leah's the mother, Rachel's the one that didn't have children.
Okay, so Leah is the mother.
Leah's the one that...
Okay, Leah. So Yehuda, he's the one for whom she offered gratitude to God. And Yehuda, Yehudim, Judaios and Jews, we are the people of gratitude. So, please.
She'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu le'olam va'ed le'olam va'ed le'olam va'ed le'olam va'ed atahu
So let's say together this prayer of gratitude. We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God, as you were the God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gift at all times, morning, noon, and night. We praise your God, source of goodness, to whom our thanks are due. We praise you, O God, the source of peace, and with God's peace in our hearts, we take now a few moments for quiet prayer and meditation. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Thank you. Thank you, choir. Thank you for all this music. I'm going to start with a quote, and you'll tell me if you recognize it. When I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. When my bankroll is getting small, I think of when I had none at all, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. Do you recognize these lyrics? So it's a song which was written by Irving Berlin in 1954. Irving Berlin was a Russian Jew who emigrated to the United States, and he wrote this. He wrote about 1,500 songs, so I'm sure we know lots of them. And this was a song included in a movie called White Christmas, 1954. You remember White Christmas? Okay. So that's one of the songs which is in this movie. So the idea of counting one's blessing comes actually from the Talmud, where it is said that one has to say 100 blessings a day to express our gratitude to the author of all things for the bounty we have received. Counting our blessings is indeed what we're doing today. As a movement, we celebrate 120 years of existence. We have grown, we have changed, and yet forever we stay true to the vision of the late Rabbi John Rayner, a movement that is this one, so it's a bit disruptive. I'm going to wait that you finish to be settled. Shall I start again, or have you followed? Because I could see eyes, moving this direction. So please, next time when I'm talking, please don't move around the synagogue. It's disrupting me as well. So I was talking about counting the blessings as something we're actually doing today. And as I said, as a movement, we are celebrating 120 years. And we have changed, we have grown, we have moved from what happened, 120 years ago. And yet, as Rabbi John Rayner said, we are 100% Jewish and 100% liberal. But of course, like all things Jewish, we may not always agree on what we mean by being Jewish and liberal. But this ongoing conversation is the strength of our movement. And tonight we're here gathered, here at Long Ditton, next to Kingston, the other liberal Jewish community south of the river, the only other liberal Jewish community south of the river. I mean, further down you have, of course, Eastbourne and Brighton, of course, but in Greater London we are...
South London.
Yeah, of course, I was talking about South London. I don't forget the others, don't worry. We are not quite 120 years old, but we have been a proud constituent of Liberal Judaism for the past 55 years. So for us, it's also an anniversary. It all started with a meeting held at Surbiton Assembly Rooms in April 1967. A group of young families came together because they wanted to provide Jewish education to their children. And in July of the same year, a cheder was constituted. A women's society was born. And of course, a communal picnic took place in July. That's also part of careless ethos, food. The first service was led in September 1967 by Rabbi Lionel Blue and Rabbi Dr. Sine Brichto, Zichronam Livracha. And the high holidays of this year were led by student Rabbi Nicholas Ginsbury with cantors Laurie Feder and Irving Osborne. For the next 8 years, services were held at the Friends Meeting House in central Kingston until the purchase of this very building, an old Church of England school on Russet Road in Long Ditton, 1976. Refurbished in the 80s. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but to give you an idea. So we kept the name Kingston Liberal Synagogue, of course, because who on earth knows where Long Ditton is, honestly, right? So Rabbi Danny Rich led his first service as a student rabbi in August 1988 and was inducted the following year as the first full-time rabbi of KLS until he moved on in 2004. But before Rabbi Daniel Rich became our first rabbi, other rabbis served KLS, some as students, and the list is rather astonishing. So I'm going to give you the list. Howard Berman. I'm not going to give you the dates because it's not, we forget the date, but the names you remember that. Howard Berman, Dr. Jonathan Magonet, David Suttendorf, Cliff Cohen, Larry Tabik, Thomas Solomon, Dr. Charles Middleburn, Amanda Golby, Barbara Boats, and our very own Rabbi Charles Baginski, who took over in 2006 until she moved on to Liberal Judaism in 2016. Hannah Kingston, as a student rabbi, served KLS until I arrived in August 2017. So as I was writing this piece, I got stuck here. What is the purpose of making a list of rabbis who serve the community? Some of his names went on and had a great rabbinic career. Some served a few months, others a few decades. But for me, this list is rather humbling because what it tells me is that rabbis come and go, but the community stays. When I was incapacitated during COVID, and more recently during Pesach, when I had got COVID for the second time, just on the day of Pesach, my community, and I say my with a strong sense of pride, carried on its sacred mission to be the visible presence of Liberal Judaism, as if a rabbi wasn't needed at all. So I'm not going to tell you this too often, because that might be a bit dangerous, and I know someone is looking at, you want my job. A community, I think, is first and foremost an idea, but a dream even. It is a group of people who share a common heritage and a common vision, and have deeply ingrained the pressing mission to transmit this dream to the next generations. And when a rabbi comes and devotes their life and passion to a community, it's a bit like a love story, like a wedding, with its ups and downs, its doubts, but also a deep sense of loyalty. You know what they say, a community has a rabbi it deserves. I'm giving you so many weapons tonight. But it is also true that a rabbi has a community that he or she deserves. All these names that I mentioned just a moment ago spent some time and worked along with KLS, created a relation dynamic that led to the community we know today. And I'm confident when my time is up, another rabbi will come and serve KLS, its members over time, and lead it to the next chapter of its history. Marking 120 years of Liberal Judaism, 55 years of Kingston Liberal Synagogue, and 5 years of my rabbinic life with you. All these events, all these anniversaries, the birthdays are cause for joy, but at the same token, a very awe-inspiring experience. Because we know that our time on earth is limited. Nothing endures forever, maybe just God's love for us. But our community, our people, haven't said their last words. We've inherited a wonderful tradition. It's our duty to preserve it, but also to enable its adjustment to new realities and to present it as a gift to those who come after us. So tonight, let's rejoice when we look back at our past. Let's rejoice also because we know that we have a future indeed. Kenya Hudson. So we have two surprises for you tonight. I'm going to start with the second, which will come in a moment. You know that KLS was very much involved with helping Ukraine. And I'm not going to say more because I think Rebecca will explain a bit what's going to happen in a month from now. And the first surprise, we have Rabbi Charlie Baginski. Please come up to the beamer.
I don't think you get me without having a word.
also missing my stool to stand on.
Oh, you're there somewhere.
No, I didn't wear heels tonight, which is always a mistake. So first of all, thank you, Rabbi Rene, for having me. Thank you, KLS, for having me. Listening to that list, we had Sydney Brickdoe, we had Rabbi Dr. Charles Middleborough, we have Rabbi Danny Rich, and then me. So if you lose your rabbi, it'll probably be to being the chief executive of Liberal Judaism. An esteemed history for KLS. Tomorrow's parashah, the portion that we'll read tomorrow, is Mahalot Ha. And the portion deals with moaners. The people are in that point in the desert where they're moaning a lot. Not that that's relevant, obviously, to KLS. But there's a great midrash, a great interpretation of that piece that talks about whether they were, not that they were moaners, but that they were like mourners. Even it works maybe in English as well as in Hebrew. That they were mourning something left behind. And that's often the great danger of us in religious communities, is that we always think that what we left behind, that somehow in the background there was something more special. For them it was the great cucumbers and wonderful onions and garlic that they ate in Egypt, which we all know as slaves probably wasn't the case. But Liberal Judaism tries to turn that on its head, and to, instead of mourning the past, to celebrate the past, but also to look forward to the future. And I think that's what this 120 years is really about. And if I think about the parashah, and I was looking at it, I'm in Kent tomorrow, I was looking who had B'nai Mitzvot on at KLS when I was here during that. And Michael, your daughter Albertine, had her bat mitzvah. This is your life. Surprise, surprise. This Albertine had her bat mitzvah on that parashah. And also Shimon and Andre, who I think are smelling great things from the kitchen. Also, their child had, their guy had his bar mitzvah also on that day. And when we think about Liberal Judaism, when we think about this kind of amazing gift that we have, not only in KLS, but as a movement, I think that your families, probably in this parashah, really epitomise telling our story about what it means to be a liberal Jew. Albertine was the first girl to have a bat mitzvah from your family here on this bima, a very important moment for your family. For Guy, coming from a kind of Israeli family mix of, different families coming together, exactly what KLS and Liberal Judaism, both those stories are really about. So I think we're neither moaners nor are we mourning the past, but actually we are kind of wrestling with the future and what that looks like. And those stories perhaps are exactly what we're trying to do in these 120 years, which is lift up those voices, tell our stories, celebrate what's amazing about our communities. And for me, and there's always something very special about being at KLS. This was my home, is my home still, I think, in many ways. And where my kids really had their formative years. And it's those stories, those connections with many of you here that really keep us as a movement going. So thank you for having me during the 120 years. I'm really enjoying celebrating it with you, and hope that we can continue to lift up those stories and tell them not as moaners or as mourners, but actually as those people striving for the next step, for the promised land. So happy birthday, Liberal Judaism.
Thank you, Rabbi Charlie, for your words of wisdom. Yes. So when you were appointed CEO of Liberal Judaism, people made the connection. And Danny, Charlie, and I reassured them. I said, no, I'm too old for that now. So you're gonna get stuck with me. But it's true that from Kingston to central London, it's I don't know.
The well-trodden path.
Yes, well, thank you. Okay, so Rebecca, can you introduce us to what's coming now? Thank you.
Okay, great. Just briefly to say, Rabbi Rene already said about that Kingston, KLS has had a very strong response and been very active in the response to the crisis in Ukraine. And tonight, In a moment, Rebecca, the Deputy Chair, after we've sung a song, will come up and talk about our concert for Ukraine that's being planned. It will take place in July, and she'll say more. But right now, the KLS Choir and our wonderful musicians, Louisa and Leslie, are going to perform a Ukrainian anthem. It's a song of resistance that actually dates back to 1914. And since the recent Russian invasion, it's kind of gone viral and comes in all shapes and forms. You can have a look at it on YouTube. So singing of this song was actually banned in Ukraine during its 72 years under Soviet rule. But its spirit of defiance has persisted throughout and, as I say, has been reignited, and we're singing the song in solidarity. The song tells us about the national symbol of Ukrainian identity, a flower, the Kalina rose that is bent low. And for some reason, the translation says it something like this: our glorious Ukraine has been worried. So we'll take that red flower, the Kalina, and we'll raise it up, and our glorious Ukraine shall cheer and rejoice. So, enjoy.
Thank you, musicians. Hi, I'm Rebecca, the Deputy Chair here. And if you would like to hear more of this beautiful music, we are hosting a concert for Ukraine on Saturday, the 9th of July. Our choir will be singing this and some other songs as well. We will have other instrumentalists. Louisa, who just played beautifully on the clarinet, will also be playing in the concert. We've got guitarists, we've got violinists, we'll have Ravel's Kaddish, we'll have some Yiddish lullabies, we'll have some classical piano solos from myself and Rebecca. Our rabbi will be performing a solo as well. So it'll be a really eclectic mix of Ukrainian folk songs, classical Ukrainian pieces, Yiddish lullabies, Jewish liturgical music. It should be a really wonderful event. Tickets are on sale. If you either go to our website, our Facebook page, our Twitter feed, or our Instagram account, you'll be able to get the link to the tickets. And KLS will be matching all donations, all monies received will be matched by KLS and donated to charities either working in Ukraine or over here with Ukrainian refugees. So that's Saturday the 9th of July, a concert for Ukraine. Please do come along. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm amazed. You're so knowledgeable in Ukrainian now. That's just great.
Yes.
Right, so we are now going to... did you have another?
No, that's it. Could they just move?
Yeah, sure. We're now going to conclude our service. So, but before, I just wanted to give you a few announcements. So tomorrow we have a family service, and we have a very important meeting with the parents before the service. Sunday we're going to visit the Jewish Museum with the Bar Mitzvah class and the Kabbalah Torah class, but you're all welcome to join if you want to come to the Jewish Museum on Sunday. So we're meeting before at the door of the Jewish Museum at 10:45 a.m. So in the morning, so Sunday morning. And I don't want to stuff your head with more information. And we are going to finish with a composition by Rebekka. I've got some music sheet here if you want. Remember, we made loads of copies.
The words, the lyrics are in the...
Page 213. 213. And then all that is divided us will merge. Sure. Actually, you need a copy. You need copies, huh? I'm going to stay with the choir for 4 minutes. Yeah? Right, have you? No, I don't. Yes. So, before we say the Kaddish, I just wanted to bring to us the memory of Zohar Collins, the LJ120 worker who passed away last week in Albania and was buried this morning in South London. And on this Shabbat, we also remember Margaret Brose, the grandmother of Louisa Michelson. Remember Sarah Cass de Wolf, grandmother of Nora Zimmerman. Remember Richard Halfin, the husband of Myra and the father of Simon. Is there any other name you'd like to remember before we say the Kaddish? Zichronam livracha. May the memory be a blessing. And please stand. We're on page 524 for the words of the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shomer rabba, be'alma tvorach yivoteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechom u'vyomechom, ובחיי בכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שומר רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי לקודשה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ביחתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן. Please be seated.
So we finished with the Adon Olam, and it goes something like this. Adon Olam Hashem Malach B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra Lahem Nasa V'efsa kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra יכלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא עובד והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להעבירו בלי ראשית בלי תכלית לעולו העוז והמשחק ולא העוז והמשחק והוא אלי והי גורלי וצורב לי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו הפקיד וכלי בעת אישן והעיר העירה והנמוכי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא אדוני לי ולא אירא.
Please stand. מי ששיכן את שמו בבית הכנסת הזה ובביתכם, הוא ישכין ביניכם אהבה ואחווה ושלום ורעות. May the one whose presence dwells in this synagogue and in your homes cause love and harmony, peace and friendship to dwell among us. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Eternal God, grant strength to people. Eternal God, bless you people with peace. And let us say,
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to
Shabbat
you.
Shalom.
Came online and thank you. Thank you.